After 8 a.m., I am Dennis Aseto. Eric Latif is in Israel, Bethlehem. We shall be touching base with him with regard to the story in Israel. We know the war that is raging there, and Ndu Oko as well is unwell. We wish her the very best. But in studio, CT Muga is with me, and Janet Mbugwa, who is our guest host. Good morning. And right now we also have Isaac Ndereva, who is an executive director, Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya, and electricity billing analyst, Sub-Saharan Africa. Isaac, karibu sana.
Asante sana, Dennis.
Yeah, but before we get to that conversation now, City wants to tell you about a partner who will help you to manage your wealth better, who has been in the game for over 100 years. City.
How many of you have heard of something called mutual bonds? We're not talking about the manufacturing of ropes when you talk of bonds. How many of you have heard of mutual funds? Kenya government bonds, don't you hear?
Yeah.
Okay, now, how many of you have considered investing and reaping your investment in foreign currency? The euro, the dollar. Well, if you like to be local, the Kenya shilling. Well, this is what priority banking with Standard Chartered does for you. It opens up a whole new world of opportunities and possibilities. Safe investments that guarantee you a return. But in addition to that, there is a constant personal advice that meets your specific needs that is also provided for you. Standard Chartered Priority Banking is, let's put it this way, the companion you've always looked for and probably thought you couldn't have. We are now telling you Standard Chartered Priority Banking is available to you. All you need to do is go to standard.kenya@sc.com and you will have all the details you need as to how it is you can benefit from this wonderful product that Standard Chartered has.
Yes. Now, Isaac.
Yes.
Every morning, pretty much, you always have something that you drink, right?
Yes.
Yes. And right now we have a partner who wants to make sure that any other time you wake up in the morning that the fruits that you like to eat at this particular moment, you can drink it. City seems to be really excited about the fruits in the studio. You know, it's all about City having fun.
Are you okay?
Surely, how many times do you lean on a chair and fall over in the studio?
Oh, fine. Are you okay though?
I did that on purpose. I could have leant back, but I wouldn't want to lie on this floor, and today I have an opportunity. I'm actually good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and Isaac. Now, City says that partner Del Monte is actually there to ensure that you enjoy your fruits, not just any other fruits, but one that has been selected for you, that has naturally ripened, and one that does not have preservatives. But that is City to tell you.
Yes. How to
See,
fix it? Yeah.
Drinking and drinking fruit is not the same thing, because you drink water. Water is not a fruit. Drinking porridge is not a fruit. But if you like fruit, it means you like eating fruit. And the process of consuming fruit, as far as we are concerned, has to do with the eating of it. Now, Del Monte is saying, no, I want you to drink it. We're going to take it further. We even want you to drink a vegetable.
Tomato. Is this supposed to be a drink?
Yes, it is a drink. It is a drink. Now, why I've chosen these two drinks for you is because they not only come with the value of being natural, they also come with health additives.
Oh.
Yes, good for your liver.
The tomatoes are good for the
Oh, yes. It's liver health. And all these juices have no added sugar, no colors or flavors, no preservatives, none whatsoever.
Oh, okay. I am trying to imagine that this Del Monte tomato should also be used with French fries or something.
It's not the same as
Okay.
I'm so curious about that one. I'm so curious about that flavor. Yes.
This, I drink it myself, so I know.
Yeah. So you also drink tomato sauce?
I don't drink tomato sauce because
it's different.
This is a sauce. This is
this
a
is a
juice.
Juice.
Yes, this is a juice. That one has preservatives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This one doesn't.
I will really go
And
for this one. I'll try.
Isaac, I see where you're going with this. Please don't drink the ketchup in your house. This you can drink,
Yes.
and
All
this
right.
you can also drink.
Okay.
Now, when you consume Del Monte products, it isn't a balancing act similar to what I was trying to do on the chair.
Yes.
Nice.
You actually drink the real thing, and you, my friend, and the real expert
Yeah.
in the world of electricity. So let the real communicate and enjoy real. Yes.
Thank you. Looks like it's something to try this Christmas.
Karibu
Yes.
sana.
Yes, Andy.
Yes.
And while you're enjoying that real begetting real, yeah, it's Christmas season. Don't try the balancing act.
Yeah.
Just try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Isaac Ndereba is Executive Director, Electricity Consumers Society of Kenya and Electricity Billing Analyst, Sub-Saharan Africa. Now, we are investigating the high cost of electricity into the country. Now, Isaac, there was a time when electricity pretty much in the country was pegged on water levels, and it rained, we know, we experienced floods in the country, the dams are full, but still we experience high electricity in this country.
Yeah.
What's the problem, Isaac?
Good. Thank you very much, Dennis. I like it when I get such questions because it means that people want to understand. First of all, let me say that the committee we had in the National Assembly, the Departmental Committee on Energy, led by...
I saw your paper, yeah.
Yeah, led by Honorable Vincent Musyoka, or Kawaya, did a very commendable job. They tabled the report in the parliament, so we are waiting for the yes question or just a question, yes or no. And then also mentioned that Jane Kagiri, Honorable Jane Kagiri, the women rep for Laikipia County, also did a very good job because we worked together to ensure that she puts that motion to parliament. And I think so far, even if they were given 120 days and they took too many days, I think the job, it's worth it. And they really investigated each and every person that is supposed to be investigated. Now, and your question is, when we have floods, we still have high cost of power. I mean, the best thing to mention is the cost of power to Mombasa or the coast region. Even if you have floods, even if you bring the whole Indian Ocean to Olkaria or whatever happens, that will never change because we don't have any river that serves Mombasa region. We don't have any geothermal that would be taken to that side. But there were plans for that to happen because there is a line that was done which is 400 kV. That is 40,000 volts of alternating current that was done from Isinya to Mombasa. I'm not sure whether that has been completed, but it's supposed to land at somewhere called Mariakani substation, where it's supposed now to distribute. That has never been achieved. Now, as a result, we have had 4 thermal plants in Mombasa. We have had Kipevu 1, Kipevu 2, Kipevu 3, and Rabai.
When you say thermal, just hold it.
Yes, here diesel.
That's thermal.
Yes.
Oh, so what does thermal mean?
There is a difference between thermal and geothermal. Thermal means it's, when I say diesel, some of them use heavy fuel. So that's why we call it thermal, because there's an engine. Okay? So we had 4. We stopped Kipevu 2 because the contract ended in September of 2021. And then just recently we have stopped Kipevu 1, owned by Kengen. So we now have Kipevu 3 and Kipevu and Rabai. Now, those actually takes 74. Last month, they took 74% of the fuel cost. Actually, we paid 1.3 billion of fuel to them. And that account...
We paid for fuel.
We paid for fuel used to generate power there.
That we again...
because Kengen owns it.
Not Kengen. One is owned by Kengen,
Yes.
and another one is owned is Rabai.
Rabai.
Yes.
Rabai is privately owned.
It's privately owned by investors.
So why are we buying fuel for them?
No, what we do, the contract is that they have the plant, they have invested in the plant, but any fuel that is going to be used will be paid direct. And because it varies every month, we have to keep on changing that cost, and it cannot be put on the main tariff. It has to keep on changing, and they gazette every Friday
I'd like
the mid-month.
I'd like us to walk through this a little slowly.
Yes.
There is a contract with these, what are they called again?
Independent power producers using diesel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
exactly. Now, our contract, you're saying among the things that it states is that we will supply them with the fuel.
Yes.
What they did was they brought this huge generator.
Yes.
Do we pay them anything else beyond paying for the fuel?
Yes, we do, because they signed a contract between Kenya Power and them in purchasing power, in purchasing energy. So assume they are buying 4 shillings per kilowatt hour. Okay. Now, if they are paying 4 shillings per kilowatt hour, that is a contract for 20 years. But then they agree that that cost of 4 shillings will be borne by Kenya Power in the main tariff. It's called the base tariff. Yeah, Kenya Power will be paying that because it's part of the power. It's part of
they
the
are
purchase
producing the power
to sell to Kenya
and they're
Power.
using our diesel, which we are giving them to produce this power.
Yeah, that has to be paid separately. And
I've understood that
Yes.
one. I've
Yes.
understood. We are paying the fuel that produces the power. We pay for.
yes, we pay.
Okay.
Yes.
Then they sell to Kenya Power.
Yes.
The power that is produced by using our diesel.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Aha. So we pay them twice.
Let me say we pay them twice, but the first one is paid by Kenya Power. The 4 shillings, let me assume. The 4 shillings is paid by Kenya Power. But you see now this diesel has come and is going to cost 60 shillings per kilowatt hour. That we pay directly to them. And in fact, it's not Kenya Power that receives that money. It's not Rabai, for example, that we receive that money. It will be now the people who have supplied that diesel to Rabai. And who is that? You will never know them. Because they are the people who have hidden, they are the people who will never make that line be completed because they need to keep on supplying that 1.3 billion.
Does that
to
inflate
Mombasa.
what we pay then?
Of course.
Constantly.
Of course
And
it is.
that's why it's skyrocketing.
Yes.
'Cause
Because
it's
now,
gonna- yeah.
last month, the fuel cost charge or fuel energy charge was 3.57 shillings. Now, out of 3.57, 2.64 was taken by Rabai and Kipevu 3. So if they were not there, if we had connected them to our carrier, we would have paid 0.93 shillings per kilowatt hour. Now, do you know what that difference means? It means you have, for every 1,000, you would have had 4 additional tokens. If you normally get 35 tokens, for 1,000, you would have gotten 39.
39.
That is what it means. Now, and that is the reason I normally ask myself. Of course, we understand that Chemo seat and those other lines that are supposed to be done, they are important in stabilizing. But when you come to getting to the pockets of Kenyans, the priority would have been to start with that line.
Isaac, stop.
Yes.
Just for a little while.
Yes.
The power stations you've mentioned that were brought in to stabilize.
Yes.
What do you mean?
For example, we had Muhoroni gas turbine.
Yes, that's
Muhoroni gas turbine had, in fact, the contract ended after 30 years. After 20 years, sorry.
it has
And of course, it has never ended because sometimes it's taken from Garissa, it's brought to Mbakasi, then it's taken to Muhoroni. Okay, it ended after 20 years. After when they stopped it, we started having a problem of destabilization and line balancing, and we used to say Marani, Turkana and all that. We knew that it was Muhoroni, that those lines, it was not able to stabilize, because when you produce power locally, you are able to serve that area, because remember the switching is even in Mbakasi, I think. Okay, so now when you are doing the switching for the whole country and balancing, it became a problem to know how much power is required now in that region, now that we have stopped Muhoroni gas turbine. And we were not saying even that we bring it back.
But did the demand for power go down? I mean, if this is the demand,
Yes.
and we're talking about demand for power,
Yes.
Is there any way it goes down? I thought this demand goes up because we have a growing population, and it's a necessary commodity that people need. And since we know our economic growth and we have a pattern of demands for electricity, like now the demands are probably going to increase because of this season. Are we saying that we had not anticipated this, so that when you now stop this particular transmission or this particular production, does it not stand to reason that automatically there will be a shortage?
No, actually, we dispatch power to that area, okay? The problem has been the line to feed power to that area. So as a result, we were producing that power locally there at Muhoroni. So when you stop, you have to find, how do I now get power now that I have stopped this plant? Now, in the process of stopping, there was an issue of balancing those lines on whether they have the capacity to feed if we stop the Muhoroni gas turbine. But nevertheless, in fact, that Muhoroni gas turbine has been brought back. Last month, it generated quite a bit of power. And we already had a problem with that because, one, remember the report that was tabled in Parliament is the one that was trying to suggest that we lift off the moratorium that was put. But now you see Muhoroni gas turbine even started producing before even that report was tabled. Number two, that report has not even been adopted for it to be effected. So what does that mean? That for you to bring back such a plant, you should have consulted the public. Because those are the problems we are having.
Were we consulted and was bringing them in?
You may not know because maybe you were too young that time or you didn't know. But the constitution had not established that or provided for that. Yes.
We were not young at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know. Of course. But now what we are saying is these are things that have been decided on our behalf without us being consulted. But we are not saying it's a bad thing. I am not even complaining because Muhoroni gas turbine is actually having just less than in fact is a cent if you look at it. But what really is ailing us has been the coast region. But they have not prioritized that line or even that substation. I was there last week.
Do we have a line?
We do have a line that was being constructed.
Has it been completed?
That is the progress that I am not sure of. But what I know is, last week I was in Rabai, the generating station itself, the power plant. I sat with the management and I was telling them that you are one of the people who we are complaining about. They said, actually, as we don't even have any intention to produce a lot of power. In fact, if we are told, the best thing is we produce a little like Triumph power and thicker power around Nairobi. Because the more we are producing, the more our machines are wearing out. And remember, the only bit that comes is Kenyans will complain because we are consuming a lot of fuel. But that fuel is not paid to us. We are only paid on the contract between us and Kenya Power. So them is passed through. They only collect on behalf of the oil marketing companies. So now, what this investigation in power did not establish, much as they did a good job, they should have established who are the people who supply this power, this diesel to this plant. Because those are the people who will not have any motivation for them to produce less power, for Rabai to be shut down. Those are the people who will not agree. But even remember,
so long as these power producers are working at full throttle,
yes,
they will consume a lot of fuel.
Yes, and these people.
So for them, it's good business.
It's good business. It's not good business for Rabai. It's good business for the people supplying fuel. Yeah. And remember, even during the procurement of this fuel, do you know, as we are, like now, for example, last month, the fuel for Rabai was, we were buying fuel for Rabai at 88.4. Okay?
This diesel?
This diesel, packaging. Okay? 84. Let me tell you how much we were buying for Kiunga. 278 shillings. Okay?
278.
Do you know where Kiunga is?
Somali-Kenya border.
If you have been given a contract to supply power to Ghana, you buy it at 88 shillings. I'm sure even at 150 you'll have made your profit, isn't it? Even if you are to supply to Ghana. But now, just tell me Kiunga is 278.
Yeah, they will tell you it's bandit prone.
Well, you can fly the fuel in.
They'll still say it has to be. You just said, you mentioned something earlier about the coast hasn't been prioritized. Did you say something like that?
Yeah, the coast has not been prioritized in terms of transmission.
Right.
Yes.
And why is that? And how does that how does that also cause a barrier and the ripple effect?
Okay, now, let's assume Dennis is the one supplying fuel to Kipevu 3 and Rabai. Fuel of 1.3 billion in a month. Then, City wants to do a line from Isinya to Mombasa so that Rabai will not be producing a lot of power.
Okay.
Of course, Dennis will complain that, and if you don't know Dennis, because we don't know those people who who actually supply fuel there, you will not know what Dennis is telling City, that stop doing this line or delay this line. Those are the politics around power. You get, they will never find the motivation for that line to be done because it's going to discontinue the 1.3 billion in a month.
Now, Isaac.
Yes.
You've mentioned in terms of Kipevu 3 and Rabai
yes,
that use diesel that
yes,
Kenyans pay for it to generate power.
Yes.
And let's digress a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's try make these understandable to Kenyans.
Okay.
Using geothermal power that we have
yes,
and hydro power that we have in this country,
yes,
are we able to supply power from these stations to Kenyans at an affordable rate?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. In fact, let me even say something that people have never understood, but it should be clear this way. There is a negotiation between Kenya Power and the people generating power, and they agree that we are going to be buying your power at 4 shillings or 7 shillings or anything. That is their business. We have not come in. Much as Kenya Power is a public company, okay? At that point, they have negotiated for a tariff that we approved, or it was gazetted in April of 2023, okay? That we have no problem, because we could have fought our battle during that time. And we actually even went to court complaining about it. Now, the issue is, when there are these pass-through costs, and you even saw the Musyoka report talked of that those pass-through costs is where theft is. And it should be investigated by the Auditor General. Because they also saw the reason as to why they think there's a lot of billions playing around there. But now, what was locked between Kenya Power and purchasing power from the producers, they locked that for the next 3 years. And we may have nothing much to do about it. But now, we are also complaining because, again, there are some plans. Remember, I have always told City, we sign contracts on take or pay. You know what that means? That whether, if I am Rabbi, I am selling power to you at 4 shillings. And I will be supplying you power of about 88 megawatt. Whether you buy that power or you don't buy that power, you have to pay for the 88 megawatt. But there is no problem, because that is Kenya Power's deal with them. Problem comes in when you now say we have produced 55 or 60, but now this fuel is what you need to pay us, because we have used that. That is now when you reach to the Kenyans' pockets, because that now goes beyond the contract that Kenya Power signed, because they didn't agree on the fuel. So they pass through the fuel. And because it varies monthly, they get a leeway to overstate that value. For example, now, last month, according to what even the parliament was saying, there is a certain defined formula for calculating the fuel cost charge. It was supposed to be 2.88 shillings. 2.88 shillings. Now, they charged 3.57 shillings.
What is the 2.88 shillings based on?
It's based on a formula calculating. You take all these.
Who determines the formula? And what are the components of this particular formula?
Good. Now, the person who gazetted this formula is EPRA. Okay? This formula is not just gazetting it, but it was decided long time ago that is the best formula. And it has been used for a long time.
Is it the best?
Is it the best?
It is the best. Okay. But now it's not being used. Because we are collecting, like, for example, last month, we collected a whole 687 million over that formula. 687 million.
Shillings?
Yes, shilling.
We collected?
Yes, it was over-collected, because we were supposed to be charged 2.87 shillings.
Over-collected.
We were charged 3.57. If you multiply by the units generated of around 1.2 billion kilowatt, those tokens you buy. You buy 5, others buy 100. Every month, they normally generate around 1.2 billion. Yeah. So even if you talk about a cent, because we are talking about an overcollection of 0.7 shillings, if you multiply by those units, that's coming to 687 million.
All right. Let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, take us through solutions with regard to these power tariffs, because I don't know about we are paying for fuel to generate power, then buy power, and again after this short commercial break.
Thank you. All right.
When I have back pain, I reach for 2 tablets of Panadol Extra. It's boosted by caffeine for fast relief of strong pain, like headache, toothache, and muscle pain. And I am finally released from pain and ready to be there for those who need me. Try Panadol Extra for fast and effective relief from strong pain.
Hii Krisi, sambaza furaha na Safaricom Business. Zidisha biashara yako na 25% off kwa business internet plans. Reliable internet ni key kwa biashara yako. Ukiwa na 5G speed na huduma za Safaricom Business, una hustle smarter, unawafikia wateja faster na kufanikisha mafanikio zaidi kazini. Dial *485# or visit www.business.safaricom.co.ke to subscribe. Safaricom Business, powering progress. Make sure your biashara shines this festive season.
Banjuka tu, hey, nasema tena banjuka tu, hey, bila kujali mikono moja mbele, ngine iende rembe. Paila, yoni ganja rende. Zungusha kiuno alafu wacha iende.
Gota, tena strictly makwela, no other gender. Gota, tena petit.
Sana wewe ni lawyer wangu lakini una believe niko guilty, si ndio?
Njoroge, I'm not your pastor. Kazi yangu sio kuamini. Mimi ni wakili. Kazi yangu ni kutetea kwa koti.
Utaongea haraka.
Nilikopia exams.
Na?
Teacher alisema nisiende shule bila mzazi.
Peke radio.
Wagwa. Sasa hizi ndio zangu sasa.
Basi usijali, nikubeba.
Big feelings can be tough for little ones. But Kili and friends are back to help your kids find their voice and tackle emotions together.
I'm going to tell Monkey to stop bullying me and my friends because it's not nice and makes us feel sad.
Kili and her friends are going on amazing adventures to teach us important things like celebrating small wins, understanding big feelings, and how to be great friends to kids who may look or do things a little differently. Go! There is so much to discover. More new songs.
Don't look, don't touch me, don't look, don't touch my behind. Don't look, don't touch me on my private parts, or else I will tell on you.
Games and stories that will make learning super fun. Kili and Me is here to help your little ones grow big hearts and smart minds with exciting lessons every episode. Tune in to all new Kili and Me. For showtimes, visit KiliandMe.com.
Akili!
We are in the Republic of Angola. Okay, it's a Lusophone country. A real journey begins in old age.
Oh. I think that's true. It is, you say it starts or begins?
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, you know you can't begin a car.
Yes, you can begin starting it.
You can begin starting it.
Okay. So I think that is true. It begins at old age because we've seen many people who have come to learn their lesson when they are quite old. But again, I will say it almost resembles the one that says life starts at 40. I don't know whether that's a saying or is an American something. But when they say life starts at 40, it's because mostly in the US, you just work from 25 years, you work for 15 years, and then you earn 3/4 of your salary the rest of your life. So that's the time you come to Kenya, you start living in Diani. When you're 40, you start riding bikes, you start climbing mountains, and then we start wondering, how do you earn your money? Yeah. But it's life that has started at 40. But in Kenya, of course, it starts at around 50. When you realize you're almost retiring, you start building a house, you start taking mortgages around that time. But of course, yes, it starts at old age.
But it doesn't only start when you have all those things you can do. I think life starts at 40 is also about the fact that you know yourself better than you did before. So a lot of what you're doing, you're not waiting for permission.
Yes.
You're living your life authentically true to you. So there's the one part about the materialistic elements, but most of it, they say life starts at 40 because it really does. It means whatever dream you're pursuing, you can pursue. Whatever thoughts you have around, economy, around politics, around relationships,
Yes.
you're in your agency. That's how I take it. It starts at 40.
And in that case, then we'll have a very complicated life because you will have to do without consulting. It is at that time that people are having a very high divorce rate because they think
No, you
that
can still consult. You can consult, but you can trust yourself more as you get older.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we've remixed cities code.
Well, I'm listening to these old people talking.
These old people. A baraza of old people.
Yeah, what I've picked from what Janet said is once you get to 40, you're not asking for permissions, and a young guy would say YOLO. You only live once.
Yeah.
You know, and City. Now it is the City. Why are you smiling? Why looking at me?
You talk about permissions as though these young people ask, who do they ask permission from? They just get on with their lives.
Yeah.
Yes, anyway.
Anyway,
But please.
yes, the Christmas season is here.
Well, the Christmas, if you're going to be in Nairobi, look at it this way. There's Christmas and then there's Christmas at Sarit. Sarit, your city. Now, why is that so? Because you see, Sarit more or less presents you the dazzling world of magic. Now, what is magic? Magic is a make-believe situation where there's lighting. There's a display of all manner of things, all under one roof. And all you need to do is take yourself there and walk around and see. But this year they've added a little spice to this entire process. They've brought in Africa's first ever light the world giving machines, starting from November. This process will go on up to January, okay? 15th. So November was last month. We are now in December. But we'll also going into January. So you have time. Even if you do not wish to buy anything, just go there, take a walk, look, see. It's called retail therapy. Just the process of looking at things, perhaps wishing a little bit. And then remember also, there's a Maasai market every weekend. Thursdays, Wednesdays, and then there's a kids' corner. So it's everything for everybody. But you won't believe me unless you actually go there and see this for yourself. So Sarit wishes everyone who is listening and those who will listen later a very happy holiday. Yes.
And City, over 1 million Kenyans enter into the job market every year.
They most certainly do. Yes.
And with this, it is a concern for not only the government, but parents and all the stakeholders concerned. But here we have a partner, KCB, who is coming in to ensure that these young people have a fallback plan. There are jobs that they are getting into, their skills are being improved. And this is through the Tuji Ajiri platform.
Yes. You see, this is one of those not just innovative, but extremely progressive partnerships that you come across rarely. Now, KCB looks at combining vocational skills training, business development training, and access to finance and business mentorship. It's all in one package. Meaning, here you are, you've acquired a skill. Now, to fine-tune it, to make it marketable, they're saying, we will afford this. And KCB does this with existing institutions, and it also works with the county governments. And just so that you understand that whatever it is you want to go about as your business will work, they will ensure that the equipment that you will need to jumpstart it and to get it on the road is given and provided for you. If there's finances you need to operationalize your outfit, they will ensure that this is also provided for you. So the Tujiajiri means they give you the wherewithal to employ yourself so that hopefully with the time you'll also be able to employ others and provide a much needed service within your community. But that will be after you've adequately been trained and you're able to do the very thing that you said you wanted to do. That is the Tujiajiri program.
KCB Tujiajiri program.
Yes,
and
by KCB.
By KCB.
Yes.
Yeah, and to just communicate with them, you go to kcbgroup.com/foundation and you will get all the information there. Now, Isaac.
Yeah.
Before we went on break now, we were talking about the power that we consume in this country. We know about the power producers using thermal energy to produce a power. But I ask a question. Is the government of Kenya able to supply cheaper electricity to Kenyans using hydro and geothermal resources that we have in this country? And if we can, why is it not a priority?
Thank you, Dennis. The government, if it wants, you see, we have harnessed less than 1,000 megawatts of geothermal in the country. We have a capacity of around 10,000. If we need geothermal, we can get 10,000, but we have only gotten 1,000. What does that mean? That actually, those other sources we are even trying to mix. People will say, or this would say, experts or in the sector who wants us to believe that geothermal is called what? Flexible, because they say it's only providing baseload, because there is no technology to provide flexible in terms of if we want to switch on in the next 1 hour and switch off. That is the flexibility I'm talking about. That is possible. I've been in the US severally this year, and I have always been checking that how are those ways of ensuring that we can have flexibility in geothermal? And we found many. And even if it is actually the base load we are talking about, geothermal only provides around 40% in the country. Can't we even push it to 70? And that will get rid of the diesel plants we have in the country. Leave alone the ones that are off-grid, because some of them like Kiunga and Mantera, some of them we may not be able to provide power from geothermal because they are a bit far and transmission lines will be too expensive, yet they only consume about 100,000 per town. 100,000 Kenya shillings. So those may not be very viable. But nevertheless, we are also paying for them as consumers, because even you are paying for the diesel in Mandela. So if we are not talking about those ones, we are talking about the ones that are taking 74% of our money in fuel cost charge. We would have done the transmission from Orkaria or from Isinya, because Isinya has Orkaria. We do that line, and then we complete. When I was in Mariakani last week, I went to that substation, and it looked like nobody is thinking about it. I think priority is being done to do Chemosit line at a cost of 257 million per kilometer, as opposed to even what Ketraco.
257 million shillings
per kilometer. And yet Ketraco has been doing at 36 million per kilometer. And never mind, they even budgeted for the next 10 years. They had budgeted that they will be doing at 57 million per kilometer. We were already complaining that there is corruption budgeted in it, but someone else comes with the 257 shillings per kilometer.
May I just ask who it is who's been given this contract to supply this
line?
Well, it was mentioned. It was mentioned that it was Adani, although it was stopped.
Mentioned.
Yeah, because we found our own way to go to court and it was stopped. But we were stopping it because we thought that was not priority. Priority would have been to do the Mombasa. Remember, even when we would have done at 257 million per kilometer, that would have come to our bills on the base road, because they would have added like 2 shillings. Why are they doing it? So that they get rid of the Muhoroni gas turbine. It's better to live with Muhoroni gas turbine than do a line we will pay for 30 years like 2 shillings. I mean, and it is actually, that is too much. That was only 372 kilometers. We should have prioritized the 500 kilometers to Mombasa, and then we reduced like 3 shillings on our bills. That would have made sense. And even if that was done, there was public participation on that deal of Chemosit and the rest. And we were even called in the public participation. But regardless of what you will say as a Kenyan, you'll just be taken photos. I was brought on TV that I have been in the CS, but they did not even bring what I say. And as a result, it was passed, and they said, oh, even the consumers have agreed to this thing. We can see the leaders there. But we had actually been opposing that line. And even when we went around and teamed up with other people to go to court to stop it, it's because we had seen that 257 million per kilometer cannot be a cost of doing one line. And then it has been done with around less than 40 million per kilometer by Ketraco. Why don't we let Ketraco continue with that job? I mean, it was not fair. And so even if I had the president in Kilifi say during the trade fair, I think in Kilifi County, he said those things must be done.
It was an investment conference.
Yes, I had even gone to Kilifi just a week before in preparation for the same, but I didn't attend the conference. But I heard him say, and I was very worried. He said, Those things must be done. Even the airport must be done. We are not refusing, it should be done. The challenge is at what cost? Because even if we bring that deal of the Chimosit line and the rest, if it is going to be done at 257 million shillings per kilometer, it doesn't matter who is doing it, whether it's Adani or whether it's whoever. What we are refusing, it's not the person. I know the US brought up the issue of the person, but what we are refusing as the citizens is not the person. We are refusing the deal itself, the cost per kilometer, and whether that is priority for the country.
In the early hour, we're talking about people whose line of business is in real estate, and one of the things they said was checking the background, doing a thorough background check of the person who does this work. And I did a little background check, and I looked at people who are in that line of work. You determine what they can do by the number of miles they have done that work in and where they have done it. And if somebody says they have done 5,000, you'll find someone who's done 100,000. Now, if I was to look for someone, I'd go for this 100,000 because this person has done this thing longer and they probably understand it better. Now, see, those are the things that perhaps when we were involved in public participation, people didn't ask or were not given an opportunity to ask. And same goes with the cost, because when you look at those who do that line of work, you're even told what they cost. The details are actually provided for you, so you can actually read and you can understand.
We were given a chance. We were given a chance at Kawi House. We were given a chance, but that was because what we said is, and we asked, we understand that we are supposed to be funding. In fact, they didn't mention that we are supposed to be funding as consumers. It's us who asked that why you are calling us is because you need some money from our pockets at the end of the day. But then, let us ask you two questions. One, you are going to include this in the tariff in the coming years. Why is it not EPRA doing this public participation? Because they are supposed to be asking us, we want to do this line and it's going to cost you this money. Do you think it is? It's possible. But you see, Ketraco are the ones who are doing. Yet they will not be the ones who will be recovering money from us. It is EPRA and Kenya Power. Number two, we also asked them, there's no way you can be taking about 3 billion Kenya shillings per month of our money through taxes in Kenya Power bills, and that money you cannot divert a little to go and do those lines. Why do you have to call someone else? Why do you take money for bills and then you give to the counties? Yet there should be a way in which this tax collected from electricity should only assist the government in doing electricity project. And not going to other things, then we start borrowing for the one for electricity. 3 billion is a lot of money per month.
So what happens now? Maybe I'm jumping the gun. I'm very solutions oriented because sometimes we have these conversations and it almost feels like, what are we supposed to do with this information? Yet we're feeling the pinch, the way you've said. This year, the electricity bills have been ridiculous. And I think it's been felt everywhere. So you're talking about the politics and corruption, if we're to just put it out there. So what now, what next? For the person listening, watching, solutions. What happens now?
Good. Now, first of all, I think we are in the right direction. Because number one, we had left these decisions to be made by the parliament and other people. But now, among the very big forces that have come are the civil society organizations. And our civil society organization, which is the Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya, has decided to step ahead and come and front its own opinion on discussions in matters of electricity. And we will not be waiting for the people to decide all the CS. Number two, now that we have put out the solutions, even in the parliamentary report, we are waiting to see how it will be implemented and waiting to see who are the people who will say that report is not good and it should be thrown away.
In that report, have you requested for the anonymous suppliers to be revealed?
No, and unfortunately, we were just a party who are invited for discussion. But the people who are making a decision on who need to be invited only went to the last bit of calling the owners or looking at the ownership of the independent power producers. Why? Because they did not know that those are not the people who are benefiting from the fuel cost. It should be the oil marketing companies. But then maybe there was a disclosure for the IPPs using diesel, not to say that this fuel is paid to who, because that would have been the next step. But after that, because procurement is normally done after some time, every time. And you see, if you are in government and you need to be given a contract, the first thing you'll be told is go and take fuel to Kiunga at 278 shillings. Buy it in Mombasa at 88 and you get the profit. That should have been the first step to investigate. But now that we are here and Janet is asking,
yes,
where do we need to go from here? Number one, we are supposed to get drilling of more geothermal wells. Once we get that power, then we dispatch it to Isinya. Then from Isinya, we take it to Mombasa, and the Mariakani substation should be done so that we can offload Rabai. They are also not happy to produce a lot of power as Rabai because, as I told you, whether they produce or they don't produce, they are paid.
Yes.
So you would want not to produce, isn't it? And then, even if you produce a lot, the fuel used is not you being paid. You have to collect on behalf of someone, and you don't even get a cent.
And you're still paid the same.
Yes, so you will still be paid. So they are not happy to produce a lot of it, and we were made to understand that. So even the people who are around Nairobi with Trump Power and Ibera Africa who are not producing, they are good because they are not busy and they are still earning their money because they have been leased that whether we buy power from them or we don't buy, they will still be paid. So when you give them a lot of work of producing, they are not happy. Now, remember here, Rabai will be happy. Kipevu 3 will be happy. Kenyans will be happy. Who is this who is not happy? It is the oil marketing companies. So who are these oil marketing companies? And those are the people who will not reveal themselves. So the first thing is to say that first, we deny Rabai and those other people any generation. Then we see who is going to cry. Because sometimes that is the best way. Then you realize who is this complaining. That is the person who has been benefiting. But then, lastly, we need to say that even when you are discussing about the cost of power, remember even Kenya Power themselves have discussed these contracts on the base tariff at a very high cost. Remember, they normally discuss that it's a take or pay. Now, they had a take or pay arrangement with Kipevu 1. They had a take or pay with Kipevu 3. They had a take or pay with other plants that have stopped. Now that they have stopped paying them, have they refunded the consumers that small saving? Or you'll just see of Kenya Power has made a lot of profit. Who doesn't make profit when they have offloaded the suppliers and they have no problem? Who doesn't make profit? In fact, I was saying, Kenya Power did not make a profit. Kenya Power made a loss. Because all this, what they are declaring as profit, is actually the tariff that they almost doubled the previous year. So what happens? Well, can't you make a profit if you are doubling your sales? Without actually producing more, you have just doubled your cost. So those are the things that I'm saying. Kenya Power should also be able to offload some of the costs that they have saved from the retiring plants and give it to consumers. But they are not doing that. So in the base tariff negotiations, in this something called the pass-through cost, that is forex and the fuel costs and all those other things. Those are things that should be investigated monthly. And I know people do not know that they are normally gazetted every month. People normally realize that there is a change in fuel cost in the diesel and petrol. But remember, every Friday that is just before the mid-month, okay? Every Friday that is just before the mid-month, and it happened to be on the 13th this month, you will get the price of the fuel cost charge, forex, and inflation on our Kenya Gazette, signed by EPRA Director General. Yeah.
Now, I think my final question would be, because we're running short of time, now is a question of the power that we consume in this country, and the manner in which Kenyans are, all you meet is you're being slapped with the bill on your face. There is no explanation on this is what happened, these are the changes that are involved. All this information is so scanty. Do we experience a situation where maybe in the future, hopefully so, that public participation takes place, and not just public participation, meaningful public participation that involves each and everybody on the table?
Thank you. I think when you mentioned about public participation, sometimes I pity Kenyans because the bill that the Act for Public Participation that we have currently is not involving, it's not committing, but we have a public participation bill that is quite very nice. But it is still a bill because they have never passed in the parliament. Why? I don't understand. Because also they have noted that because it says don't ask for public participation from a person who has not understood what you are asking. Because that is what the new bill says. But currently, we are using a bill that just says inform the public. So inform them. But because it also says that after the participation by the public, there is a certain percentage of their comment that must be implemented. But the current one, there is nothing committing that you must take anything the public has said. So you can just inform them, you take them photos, they sign, you give them a soda or lunch, and they leave, and you continue with what we were doing, provided you have the photos.
Is it about time that we had a competitor to Kenya Power and get rid of the monopoly?
No, I don't think. In fact, if we get a competitor to Kenya Power, we will not be able to push the government, because remember, most of the bills that we have are actually subsidized. There is the domestic lifeline 1 and domestic lifeline 2. Those people are highly subsidized by the government. So if you bring another supplier, and then you will tell Kenya Power, now even those people you are assisting, stop assisting them. So you will realize that you are buying your power at 30 shillings, and yet there are people who are buying at 21. So it is very dangerous to start discussing about if we bring other people other than Kenya Power. And we saw there is a market bill on electricity market that we are trying to discuss, and it is such a dangerous
Why is it
proposal.
dangerous? I mean,
we've
run out of time, but nonetheless.
Yeah, we will still find some more time to come and discuss about it, because it is actually something that is talking about that we bring other suppliers and they start competing with the Kenya Power. But remember, if you put several things, doesn't mean that the cheapest is the cheapest.
Let's bring you back to
Let's bring it at the time.
Yes. All right.
Engineer Isaac Ndereva is Executive Director, Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya and Electricity Billing Analyst. It is 9 a.m.